Rainbow Warrior here, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to crochet a really basic sun hat. This pattern is really simple, and be sure to adjust it to get the size and style hat that you want. So I'm going to show you what you need, and let's get started. I'm going to be using a cotton yarn for my project, which my cat is currently loving, and the cotton yarn is going to make it breathable in the warm weather, another color strand of yarn for a stitch marker, and I'm using two different size crochet hooks. I'm mainly using a size I hook to start with, and I'm switching to a smaller hook for the brim of the hat, which is optional. To begin crocheting in the round, I'm going to start with an adjustable loop or a magic circle. If you're new to this method, then you can click on the link in the upper corner for a tutorial, or you can chain 4 and slip stitch to join. I'm going to chain 1 to secure my adjustable loop, and now for round 1 I'm going to be placing 12 single crochets into that loop. So to single crochet, we reach through and pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops on our hook. So there was our first single crochet stitch, and here is our second right there. So as I mentioned, we're going to be placing 12 single crochet stitches in our loop for round 1. Now that you have your 12 single crochet stitches, you can pull your tail tight to close that loop, and we're going to slip stitch to join by reaching in and pulling through all of those loops. From here on out, we're going to be working in a continual round, and for round 2 I'm going to place 2 single crochets in my first stitch and then 1 single crochet in my next stitch. And as you can see, I'm holding my tail close to my stitches, so that way as I crochet it is locked into my work and I don't have to worry about sewing it in at the end. So I'm going to go all the way around, placing 2 single crochets in the first stitch, then 1 in the next, and we'll have a total of 18 stitches at the end of this second round. As I mentioned, I'm working in a continual round, meaning there will be no seam on the hat or a way of knowing where your rounds begin and end, so be sure to use a stitch marker. I'm using another color strand of yarn and just laying it across to mark my last stitch of that round. For round 3, we're placing 2 single crochets in the first stitch, then a single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Repeating this all the way around. 2 single crochets, and then 1 in the next 2 stitches. There's 1 and 2. At the end of this round, we will have 24 stitches. There you can see the last stitch that I just worked into. So that's the end of my round. I'm going to loop my stitch marker over now to mark the end of this round. For round 4, we're placing 2 single crochets in the first stitch, and then 1 in the next 3 stitches. Here's 1, 2, and 3, and repeating. 2 single crochets in our next stitch, and 1 in the next 3 stitches. At the end of this round, we'll have a total of 30 stitches. Round 5, looping over my stitch marker, and going to begin by placing 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 1 and 2, 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Repeating this all the way around for a total of 36 stitches at the end of round 5. Round 6, placing 2 single crochets in my first stitch. There's 1 and 2, then 1 single crochet in the next 5 stitches. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and last one, 5. Repeating this pattern all the way around, At the end of the round, we're going to have a total of 42 stitches. Round 7 is going to be my last round of increase, and I'll be placing 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 1 and 2, and then 1 single crochet in the next 6 stitches. There was our first, second, third, our fourth, our fifth, and then our sixth. And we're repeating this pattern all the way around. At the end of the round, we'll have a total stitch count of 48. And as I mentioned, this is going to be my last round of increase. I have been told that I have a small head, so if you're making a larger size or working with different materials, then feel free to add additional increase rounds. Hopefully you can see the pattern that we're going for here. Additional increase rounds would look as follows, and as you can see, we're increasing by 6 stitches each round. After we've completed increasing, we're going to continue using our stitch marker so that we can keep track of each round. And from here on out, we're going to be placing 1 single crochet in each stitch. We're going to continue crocheting around until we have the necessary length needed for our hat. And an important tip is to end this not the length you would a normal hat, because we will be crocheting a brim and we don't want the brim to come down past our eyes. So just a little note to end it a little sooner than you would just a standalone beanie or hat. Now that you have the length needed to cover your head, it's time to begin our brim. And for our first round of our brim, we're going to begin by crocheting through the front loop only of our stitch. So as you can see in crochet, there are 2 loops on a crochet stitch, and we're just going through the one closest to us, which is called the front loop. And this is important so that our brim begins to stick out and it has the shape that we want. So I'm going to go all the way around, placing 1 single crochet stitch in every front loop. Here you can see how that last round gave the shape to our brim, and I'm going to switch to a smaller hook. This is optional, and I have done this pattern using the same hook for the entire time. However, the smaller hook will allow our stitches to be tighter on our brim and just give it a little more structure. So I'm making a brim that sticks out. If you wanted to make a floppy brim, you would do your increase all at once. However, I'm going to do evenly spaced out increase rounds. So for my first increase round, I'm going to place 2 single crochets in my first stitch and 1 single crochet in my next stitch. I'm repeating this all the way around, and at the end of the round I should have a total of 72 stitches. After that round of increase, I'm going to do a round of just 1 single crochet in each stitch. As I mentioned, I would like my brim to spread out evenly, so I'm going to be doing these rounds of just placing 1 single crochet in each stitch after my increase rounds to help even out that increase, and I will be telling you how many rounds I will be doing after each increase round. Now for my next round of increase, I'll be placing 2 single crochets in the first stitch, one single crochet in the next 2 stitches, repeating this all the way around. At the end, we'll have a total of 96 stitches. After that last round of increase, I've worked 2 rounds of placing a single crochet in each stitch, and now it's time to work another round of increase I'm going to continue with the pattern, and I'm going to place 2 single crochets in the first stitch. There's 1 and 2, and now 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. We're repeating this all the way around, and at the end we'll have a total of 120 stitches. Here you can see that last round of increase that I just worked. After that, I did 3 rounds of a single crochet in each stitch. For my next round of increase, I placed 2 single crochets in the first, 1 in the next 4 stitches, repeating for 2 in the next, and then 1 in the next 4 stitches. And after that, I did 2 rounds of placing a single crochet in each stitch. And the reason why I'm showing it to you like this is you may want to extend your brim even longer than mine, and I want you to really understand how this pattern works. When the end of your hat begins to roll up like this, that is when you need more stitches and you're going to work another round of increase. You follow that round of increase with placing a single crochet in each stitch for as many rounds until your hat begins to roll up again, and then you work your next round of increase. Here is a list of the increase rounds so that you can see the pattern, and be sure to work as many rounds as you want depending on your preference for your brim length. So you may work less increase rounds than I do, or you may go much further than me depending on how long you want your hat to be. I do have all this information as well as measurements and gauge listed in the pattern, which will be linked in the description below as always. Here is my completed sun hat, and I really like how it looks. I'm really glad that I was able to get the brim to stand out without having to add any wire or anything like that. I do intend to make a pattern for a floppy hat as well, so you can look forward to that. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this pattern. Don't forget to share pictures with me on Facebook, Instagram, or Tumblr, any social media site you may prefer. And hopefully I'll see you in my next tutorial. Thanks for watching.